Please cultivate the precious bodhicitta motivation for listening to the teachings, thinking that for the sake of all sentient beings as infinite in space, I will do whatever it takes to accomplish the state of liberation and omniscience of perfect, complete Buddhahood. And for this purpose, I will receive the profound nectar of the Holy Dharma very carefully and put it into practice. So, first, I'm going to offer the lungs, the oral reading transmissions, for both the concise and extensive Ngondro practices.
Mahasamaya Sadasha Jinandela Dudu Junja Dujanang Damjanang Gunkartim Jagan Didu Nyamshada Du Sam Samayidu Taramugu Donsho Draba Gomudana Mujadu Kusan Savana Yantara Dirindra Jayana Pantasa Shazawa Dujas Majis Zamunda Shuri Udirin the Winakana Dirugana Jovana Dana Dana Zara Ambassador Sana Jana the Ram Nani Dojis and Bukur Kirwan made Narada Langa Junior Ravardashina in Yanin Dana Langa Janja Janja Yetosa Dena were not in the Russia Davana Sama Rujana Meba Nijibot in the Majorana the Vajan Shitra Mission to go another Ripon someone she was the Junior Bishingam. Runda Kudantila Zamajan Dun, Bada Jaman, Sonia, Shin Dajas Sonia over some Lamin. Tomorrow one is the Valemor, another China Joan Mugade Lamatine Jogan Division and the young Sanjay and Nikadin Sanjay and Chichela Chelabatajing and Chijelo de Lo de Rede Lingiri Gone, Joan Joan. Darada Janga Sumira Rando, Shaman Bezangurma City Home, share Sanga Nimbo, Dujuni Monisha. Taramajila was the Military Major of the Water and the Jimala was the Roger and the Water, to your and so on. On you go on Jilajago, she was the show. I am a good judge, the good Chesala de Velama de Ojo, your assumption. Londe Rigdon was Londe was a Redonium, Hilo Lama, Sugar and Chatavan, and the Chinese Argentina, Sawa, Leisure Gisut. Jemma de Lamado, she had tuna downs on Nanda, Larian, Nanda, the Langa, Solam, and Sawas from the Lamji Sabatella. Panzella, the jungle, was on the jungle, the banana, was Shengomena Jiwaji was some Judation on the Tunzam Namsa, the Tamalito, Langa, here and in the moon, so the Jewelama, dance some wood and payment of Generation. Davjin never knew they would live on the Rodon to know Jambatin, the Mambu, and the number of This another one, Janti Chibi Diggy, Tila was also using a version of a show in the one choosing. Jesuit of Rajadana, when the one in the Tetragongo Sojan, Ramon, Sozola, Namjo, Tendanya, but number and Chovalam, the Jis of Salam to woman. The new Conango, the Maron, and Jesus, and Demagon. Dudjom Tersar Ngondro Tangbo Jarvalo Nambaji Nandana Namuli Madin Gawala Gili Jajuna Uzama Jandala Jelen Kamajala Jang Yeba Ngondong Dambuja and Dina Waja Lamas of the young Guru Mojana Some the Shukra Mela the Jasana the Jina the Nivasan Javan Joy was the Jana Chase and Jason Alazan Sosa and Mendes of Bongo the Shah person and Madame Jiba Dubon doesn't go then and Tamajan Churama Division. She does it to Jean Mibana Jaya, on Bendrasa, she Eurasian and the Dragon. Shadows of the Lanya was an Amajan, the General Zone, you know more than the Roman Shake on the Jelama, Jelama, the Yambrasha, Roman Rampo, Georgina, Shell, Kama, Jelapo, and Dimbaja, Dimba, Lujan, Gangon, Tanada, Manjero, Ronology, Union, Show, Chess, one another. She there's a Ngondro and then Java Mission, Major, Pension, Ngondro, and then Divan D. They don't got this and the such as an agenda in the just so. That's Tani. Ta. Oh, take it answer. Ngondro Kasangondro long Pulsarain.
So now I've finished giving the Ngondro lungs.
Let's not very share the answer. Then mix a chick. Then the color. Color. Cheetah. Then the Kaya Mare.
Today's teaching isn't any like particular special instruction kind of teaching.
Tanganzu Chita Gita Chir Number Yangu Tewachambo Tena Yanda Sanga Ke Sanga Kelamdan Jayukone Nyamlen Chatangi Korimdo Kandakate Dogu Menti Quality Sajita Modet Dojarang.
So today I'm going to give a little bit of introduction to like the stages of practice in Buddhism in general, and particularly in the Mahayana, and even more particularly in the secret mantra Vajrayana path.
Yes. Then, around Salam to the Sangma. Datang do di then chir nang basanji bagi lam yozo ki dom do di lamnga gane jogo yores.
For the way that we progress through practice on the paths and bhumis, in general, in all of Buddhism, the general framework for the path is the 5 paths. So we progress through the 5 paths.
Yes. Sai namsha shi aji yorida. Sai namsha shi on the cost tene. Niente don zog sa. Sai namsha dang. Tekjin tatumong sai namsha dang. Ani sanga ge shungne sumsha bagi sai namsha dan so. Yang testes. Ta drag mares, think mares.
And then there's also the levels of the grounds or the bhumis, and the way that the bhumis are explained is a little bit different between the Shravaka vehicle and the Mahayana, the general Mahayana vehicle, and the secret mantra teachings.
That's the tumung gi lam tu su ga wang de chene. Ta ji lam ga ta jar so mare lam ga ta jar ne ne ta didish jugins.
So I want to talk just very briefly about the general way that we progress through the stages of the path in connection with the 5 paths.
That's ta lamga ki ta dangbo lamga ki ngunjin yan cha chedang tekwa chi jong do zo chi halam da min da yo mar de yin ya ta da ngarang ta zo kunjin long chen ba ki so na shin chin nge dangbo lamga ki ngote da ti sa shu yin.
So generally the way the 5 paths are understood is pretty much not very different between the different greater and lesser vehicles, but I want to give a brief explanation of how the 5 paths are according to the teachings of the omniscient Longchenpa.
Chidang ta lamga ki nangse ki yewa tene lamga so nangse ki yewa tunzu ki nguyenjin tunzu tekwa chi chung changma chungbare yinna ya nyamlin chidi kasu tene tekwa kongho ki kebar wangi sagumare tenchega wangi chine tene nyamlin la shira kebar chenpo yores.
So, in the way that the 5 paths are categorized in general, and also how everything is categorized within each of the 5 paths, is pretty much the same between all the greater and lesser vehicles. But in terms of how to practice, there's very big differences between the higher and lower vehicles. So now for this brief explanation according to the teachings of the great omniscient Longchenpa, the path of people on the path of accumulation mainly focus on study and reflection on the teachings and accumulating merit. Then there's 3 parts of the path of accumulation: the lesser, the medium, and the greater path of accumulation.
number meter by she Tongwi Lamla, Tonglamla, then Samjor Chege Yotsang, then Lam Nipa de la Jorlam Secrets Jorvelam.
Then next, the second of the 5 paths is the path of joining, because it like joins the gap between it joins the gap between the path of accumulation and the non-conceptual wisdom of the path of seeing.
Then tell a Nansek Yawa to Zemo Zaba Churchos and Shears.
And there's 4 subdivisions to this path: warmth, peak, forbearance, and the supreme phenomena.
Tene lam sombadi chunyung nusum de tongvena tonglam segres.
Then the 3rd path is called the path of seeing, because it's the point when one directly sees dharmata, or directly sees the nature of reality.
Tonglam la chitang ngunegi ngowegona yawa shahayo mare tonglam ke chigrang re inayang telata kalawre keparke chana law mare tene ndokbe gona hegi na tonglam ke chi shiru ya dang tonglam ke chi chutuk se atende yores.
So really the path of seeing can't be divided up or subcategorized in any material way at all. It's instantaneous, but it can also be divided up into the 4 instants, or the 16 instants of the path of seeing.
Tene ta shibadi tene tonglam ga kapsu chunyung sum de tawi tenti gombra chege yotsang gomlam segire tela tene gomlam korgus yores.
Then the 4th path is the path of meditation, because on this path one meditates on what they saw on the path of seeing when they saw the nature of reality directly. And there's 9 stages to the path of meditation.
Ta dijibutela rangzak lope lam segire tene kongno kondo ta nyamlen chikin suyina yang tege ya kongno kondo droya yores.
So these 4 paths together are called the path of training, because at whatever stage of practice we are on the path, we practice and improve and progress along the path through training.
Tene ta labja tartune ta gomdu mebe ta kaharza ta lam kongdu doya mewa tene tartokwa teyen chen ta gomdu meba tele tene milopi lam sin ta sangje ki sa re ti te milopi lam sin ta kongdu doya mebe ki lam so ma te kongna doju mebe ki lam de tartu sangje ki sa se teres milop lam sin.
Then 5th is the path of no more training, the state of Buddhahood, where all training has already been perfected, and there's nothing to meditate on, and there's no higher path. There's nowhere to progress to. It's the final ultimate state of Buddhahood.
Yes. Tita tele tene da miloblam tartuk sangi ki sala tene yawa kaya sha yomaris.
And so this path of no more training, or this ultimate state of Buddhahood, can't be subdivided and categorized at all.
Then another sanga ki shung dozo na yang milop lam ta somara milop sanga ki shung dozo na yang te yen chen ne yawan da shayar da sangma ni lam kong da draya kaya yomare chamche tene da karsa yonden ki chane somara tende ki kone yawa shasha wa tende kasheji yores.
But there's, in the secret mantra texts, there's a few different ways of categorizing things in the path of no more training, or beyond the path of no more training, but they're not describing something where you like progress to a higher path, but they're just describing different qualities.
Yes. Then da lamga ki ditsultang lamga kita karsur ming tonda sana ya ming den sana ti da yawa dawti tindeshres ditish petish.
So that was just a very brief explanation, or just listing the names of the 5 paths and the meaning of them, like these 5 paths that we progress through.
Let's start take what you Chigi lam dosuni, then Tomar Chanacho the same ke, then Bartu Kitchen Tame Mambering la Sosa, Tar, then numbers of Sanke, Senator Sacheto, then the stories.
So the general way of practicing and progressing on the path in the Mahayana Dharma is that first we cultivate Buddhahood, or first we cultivate bodhicitta, and then we practice and gather the accumulations for many incalculable eons, and then finally we accomplish perfect Buddhahood.
Yes. Then the Sangha then share in the castle. Sangha ki rotandi, so the Ngondro, then you member che. The Concise keep on the Tawain. Sangha can lamna shuve, Concise keep checking on the Tawain, Tambo Minche, one the tenne, you member che, and the Jesu, Troche. Chichimbala tenne, tene da tampanyamsulene, and drogotam, so mindronyeki gone, jango yores.
But since this teaching is connected with the secret mantra Dharma, the way that we progress on the path in the secret mantra teachings is that for beings who are like practice step by step, for beings who practice the gradual secret mantra path, first they receive the ripening empowerments, the empowerments which ripen their mind streams, and then they receive the liberating instructions, and then based on that they practice. Mainly through the ripening empowerment and liberating instructions, our mind streams are purified.
Yes. Ta Wangi Dakin Zoyang, then Dorjulopen Conare, then Dorjulopen Tsangidan Dambale, then Tangbor, then Wangshi, the Rinpoche Shugures.
the most important circumstance in receiving empowerment is the Vajra Master. It all depends only on the Vajra Master. So we have to receive from a fully qualified Vajra Master the 4 empowerments and like practice them step by step.
That's then Wang Jibutigi then Ngaransuki Gula then Karsorata Sangyagi Saben Shagiri in the Kaso Wang Jibutela Tang Wanichena Tajik Tangbo Jangshi Jangyagi Shido Chikche then Jangja Rao Chikche then Jongjeki Tapche Jawin Divusene Shi Your Youngres.
So these 4 empowerments place the seeds for Buddhahood in our mind streams. So with these 4 empowerments, first there's the basis of purification, and then there's what is purified. Then there's the method through which the purification happens, and then there's the result of the purification. So there's these 4 aspects to the 4 empowerments.
Sta Jangshi di kapso tene techen tumondo song shabaki deore shikpe nyingbo shechawa teres.
So the basis of purification is our Buddha nature, the same as is explained in the Mahayana vehicle in general.
That deore shikpe nyingbo shechawa di that tekpa timongi chuga ngarsa tekjin timongi chuga sena jigire tene deore shikpe nyingbo shechawa di ta yage chugu temba kundu zangbo ne zongde te mage tene ta nyalba karsa dorje nyawa parki simjen thamche la tene kyapne shugdeba teyang tene deore shikpo shikpi nyingbo korang ko ngoyna samke yinna ta teyang korang kyun kunse ta yonden kunden rago ta tende shik yores di ta jangya ki shidawo di tere.
So this Buddha nature, which is like a teaching shared in common with the Mahayana in general, Buddha nature is something that pervades all beings, from the Dharmakaya Buddha Samantabhadra all the way through the beings in the hell realms. Even beings in the Vajra hell are pervaded by and have Buddha nature. And Buddha nature itself is free of all flaws and has all the qualities of enlightenment. So this is the basis for the purification that happens.
Tena jangja de karresana tene jangja de chitarna ngarangzukta tuishi tang tene nangtana le nga yisumdang le nga yisum chikta chokpa teshi tene sawatarna timogdang chedangdang doshadang tene tesum chanyamba ta tesh ta chanyamba teshi ta tonzo ta 장자대 테레스 라 뒤시에 뒤시 다 내거서 그랬디 라
So what is purified on the outer level, it's the 4 times, and on the inner level, it's our body, speech, and mind, and also all our body, speech, and mind together, joined together as one. So that's the 4th. And then on the secret level, it's our ignorance and anger and desire, and then all 3 together is the 4th. So this is what is purified.
Yes. Tene ta jongje ke tabla wang ke kapsu xeba inani ta pongwang da sangwang da shirwang da tsiwang deshibures.
Then the method through which the purification happens is in empowerments. It's the 4 empowerments: the vase empowerment, the secret empowerment, the wisdom knowledge empowerment, and the precious word empowerment.
Yes. Tene teki ta jangde rawdi ta kushi kopang tabya dires.
Then the result of this purification is accomplishing the state of the 4 Kaya Buddha.
Ta kanza ombo yangrabcha yinani tene wang kurwa tsamchike kyang tene Dr. Dudjom rodeba perna loben chumbo garab darche tang tene Indra Bodhi tang Guru Rinpoche trawo tene tenteres.
For beings of the very highest faculties, the very moment that they receive empowerment, they accomplish liberation and realization simultaneously. So beings like this include the great master Garab Dorje and King Indra Bodhi and Guru Rinpoche.
Yes. Ta kanza tamji ngaranzo tsangma ta tenra mangaywa yinti kaso tene wang kurwa tsamchike trol tukuya mara tindi ka tene ta teye tabla tene trolche tiki rinpa hanta tanso rinpa shinto tenki res.
But because all beings aren't like them, then because we're not all able to be liberated just by receiving empowerment. That's why we have the stages of liberating instructions which come after.
That's then tiki rinpa tenpi nekam na yang ta jangshi tang ta kalore jangjala sokwa ta jongji ke tab de tis manda mashi tene jangjala sokwa chikwa res.
With the stages of the liberating instructions, the basis of purification is the same, and so is what is purified. The method of purification is a little bit different, but then the result of purification is again the same.
That's that. Then ta rinpa tangbo samarima rinpa tangbo wangde tsanne ta nipa tiki rinpa la tona.
So empowerment is the first stage, and then we go on to the second stage of the instructions.
Ta trochi tiki rinpa la yang chita nga ranzo sanga nyingma tato sheki na yang tene Mahayoga ki ta lamro tang sangmarwe tang tene Anuyoga Adiyoga ki tonsola sososo ki yang kaka yore te ta tara ranzo ta tumung to sangmar tesum tumung to tarto tesum jata tesum ki tumung rawo chita shogi yisro.
So for the stages of liberating instructions, in our secret mantra, in our Nyingma school of secret mantra, the Mahayoga path and Anu Yoga and Ati Yoga all have their own different liberating instructions. But I'm going to explain like according to these like three classes of inner tantras in general.
Yes. Ta tingsan ngaran zo nyamlen mangche yang ta tesum tumong nyamlen do chene yong yore.
Most of the practice we do these days is also like a practice of these three vehicles, like in general.
Tene ta troche ge chigirin bala chedan chegi na ta yons trabala kezo nis deres.
The most widely known of these liberating stages of the liberating instructions is generation and completion stage meditation.
Yes. Tene ta ngaran zo simchen zo ki ta namdo lobe wangi ta shaba ane tene lugur tu che shaba ki nuchi dunzo tamal dun zin jing tamal de hembe ki tene chulwa lugur ba ti jong chaba la kirim segres kebirim ba.
So generation stage practice is for purifying the clinging to ordinary, temporary phenomena, like that sentient beings cling to because of temporary delusion, and these phenomena are created through the display of sentient beings' deluded concepts.
Tene yang ngaranzo simjen thamje thoma mebane tene ngaranzo lenchik de kedepe marik pe wangi zonwa dan zimbar nang ani phowe pacha sa siba ching chik do phodre tindege pasha phowe pasha saben che ba jongwal che ba thaptela zogrim sene ribani tokstingres.
Then the completion stage is for purifying the co-emergent ignorance that sentient beings have, that all sentient beings have, the habit of the phenomena of subject-object duality, and the habits of transference, like the habit of transferring from one existence to another. So our habits of transference, along with the seeds of those habits, are purified through completion stage.
Ta chedan chegi nang rang so si kiwin ne kapsu tene zo kirim nyamlen che ada ani phakbe ki ne kap to phakbe ki ta sala chorsang mara tewa lepsana zo ngon chena tene zorim zor nyamlen che ko hada ho chire.
Mostly when we're in the state of being ordinary sentient beings, mainly we practice the generation stage, and when we're sublime beings, or like once we've reached the state of being a sublime being, then really mainly we practice the completion stage.
Ina ta ngazu tingsang mogam gong tang na sorwa tene ta kezo ni cha ta tos chene rang gyul la pacha shaya gi chetu yamsleng yoris.
But nowadays we mostly practice the path, taking devotion as the path, and so we practice both generation and completion stage practices to make the habits of these practices in our mind streams.
Yes. Tene 다 덴바니 기원 덴바니를 잔르기 자기나 tene kiawa kunzup dembagi chösa wale kunzup demba jongol chabala tene kirim ki jongres.
Then, if we talk about it in terms of the two truths, mainly the relative truth is purified by the generation stage.
다 계시니 기나네다 kiawa kunzup 대한 kirim ki jongres.
And among the two, birth and death, birth is purified by the completion stage.
Ni chiwa dang tandam demba de kalore zogrim gi jango gres.
Then death and the ultimate truth are purified through the completion stage.
Let's say as late to go on the town in galore kirim combine tene le shita trupa gela sopa tumongo to gre and zorum combine tene turtu chakya chembe komasana sanji kisasana oti trup to gres.
Then, in terms of the activities they accomplish, by doing generation stage meditation, we can accomplish the 4 kinds of activity and the 8 cities. We can accomplish all common cities through generation stage practice, and then through completion stage practice, we accomplish the ultimate city of Mahamudra or Buddhahood.
Tene chidang ta kirim dang zogrim niche ani kirim la nangseki yawas kaya mare ta zogrim la yang zogrim chenche dang zogrim chenme sene ni shagres.
So then, for categorizing the generation and completion stage practices, there's not any particular subcategories of generation stage practice, but for completion stage practice, there's completion stage with characteristics and completion stage without characteristics.
Tene zogrim chenche la yang tene nangseki tene namyungi takhala ore karsagre nga kinna jurtang nga daya dan dreve kone tene ngana zata yingyu ta zo lung le tene nga daya tedan tunbin na jur chitang tene namyungi yang tumu dan shude gomya sene shude na jur gomya tene nisu zorum chenche la nangseki niyores.
Then within completion stage with characteristics, there's 2 sort of categories usually. There's the practice of mantra recitation, mainly mantra recitation connected with the tsalung, like the practice with the winds. And then there's the practice of tumo and the melting bliss of meditation of tumo.
Yes. Then the tigda kezoniki nyamlen jardan la yang tachi shung tonso ne korsore tendang mandawa tende this yores kibar 타니에 그거네. 다 돈달도 켜버시라 요말데. 타니에 된 수고는 켜버티스요스. 타니에 샥술. 돈달도 켜버시라 요말로 있는 타니에 샥술 민닥당라고 거네. 계속니다 냠len 적으로. 디 다 흉직된 달은 냠len 뜨고 그냥 달도 켜버려 요말데 타니에 딱당 거네 티스티스 켜버려 요스.
So there's different ways that the generation and completion stage meditation practices are described. Really the general way these practices are done isn't that different, but there's differences in the terminology that's used for these practices in different texts.
당은저 나랑 저다 제 냠len 여대바다 칸도토테 따고라 저게 있나 되네 계속 니보티 되네 나저 지고네 람 드로기어레 되네 독스레스.
But for one practice that we do here, there's the Ngondro Teaching practice, or the heart essence of the Dakini. And in this practice, the generation and completion stage practices are taught through the 4 yogas.
Tene kerim kebirimba 오늘 저녁에 kebirimba tene tumon ibkina jorusene da tanye tuksuyorus.
So for the generation stage practice, the terminology that's used is the common yoga of form.
Zorim tsenjela niyoro deigina chigita tsenra wala sapa ngakina jorusya tang tene kyabra devina jorusene zorim tsenjela niyorus.
And then the next two of these yogas are connected with the completion stage with characteristics. So there's the yoga of profound mantra recitation, and there's the yoga of special bliss.
Tene ta tseme zorimla tartu yishikina jorusene najir jigone tene nyamlen don sama dos ko obna rogres.
Then for the completion stage without characteristics, there's the yoga of ultimate wisdom. So all the practices are explained through this framework of the 4 yogas.
Tene ta nganzo wang shutikapso wang jire pongwa shiwa de nyamlen de kerimres.
So when we receive empowerment, there's 4 empowerments. And the vase empowerment is connected with the practice of the generation stage.
Nganzo pongwa topi kanza ina kanza teki kerim nyamslen chogiyores.
So people who have received the vase empowerment are allowed to do generation stage practices.
Dasta pongwa kanza ki kerim keberimba tene sana timon ignajir sana te nyamsu chilambar chabala da ngana khand thodi dawa shaki in tene kuchage najir da sum debi najir da tene yang thu wasal ji najir sene sum yores.
So people who receive the vase empowerment are allowed to do generation stage practice, like the common yoga of form, which in the Ngondro Teaching practice includes the the yoga of the mudra of the deity's form, the yoga of mantra recitation of the deity's wisdom speech, and the yoga of the clear light of the deity's wisdom mind.
Honest. Then Tangaranzo Kanto Deki Lake Gomgrava, Lake Gomba Yunani, Kuchake Najare, then Deva Chayati, Sung Deva Najare, then Lejan Inada, Juncha Yanada, Jugdanani, Dudang Jayore, Tiditene, Durim Jayore, Tidite, two second Najares, Tigitene, Kirim Ginyam, Yang Buddha, there.
So in Ngondro Teaching, if we do a practice where we do the generation of the visualization of ourselves as the deity, then generating the visualization of the deity is the yoga of the mudra of the deity's wisdom form. And when we get to the mantra recitation part of the practice, that's the yoga of mantra recitation of the deity's wisdom speech. And then whether we're doing like a full-length sadhana practice or whether we're doing a daily practice, at the end there's some dissolution and re-emergence stage of the practice. And this is where we do the yoga of the clear light of the deity's wisdom mind. So this is the condensed essence of generation stage practice.
Honest. That Kirim Samala, then Tag Badang, Zog Badang, Mimbasone, then Kirim Nang, Kirim Korang Rangla Yang, Chig Korsavana, Nang Seki Yang, Jimang Bush Drogoticas, Jimba Rejin Rangsa Ki, Tachi Dibataya Lavra, Dibataya Dachi, Ani Sanginani, Turtle Divine Kamna, then Do Zoborchepeki, Tender Diachetani, Ani Lam Koma Gita, Kirim and Zorim Dogora, Zorim and Zorim Senjin and Zorim Semel Dogora, Tonza Lam Koma Dozoki, Nyamlen ki Minchet Doya, Lam Koma Nyamsalamba Javala, Pen Toyaki, Gugin the Doyaki, then Chikche, Ta Zo Minsums, then the Chik never to Sangogres, Kirim Karigumnaya.
And also in all generation stage practices, there's 3 aspects to the practice. What's purified and what's completed and what's ripened. So in all the generation stage practices, there's like a lot of different stages and subdivisions of the different parts of the practice, and each of those parts of the practice purifies something. So that's the purification, and then there's the perfection. Eventually, ultimately, when we accomplish the result of Buddhahood, we accomplish perfect Buddhahood, and by doing the practice, we're making the auspicious interdependent connections with perfecting different aspects of the result of Buddhahood. So that's perfecting. And then by doing this practice, we ripen ourselves for practicing higher paths. Like we do generation stage practice, then we progress to completion stage practice, and then within completion stage practice, we progress from completion stage with characteristics to completion stage without characteristics. And practicing the earlier practices ripens us and makes it so that we're able to fully practice the like higher stages of practice. Like sets up the causes and conditions for progressing to higher stages of practice. So these three things, purification and perfection and ripening, are all like aspects of generation stage practice that we definitely have to have.
Tatinashin Kirimla, then number salva, tang takpa tembasia chikdang, Ngajal tembasia, sumyure, tisumyang, Gabarta Sangores.
And also similarly, there's another three things we have to have with generation stage practice. There's the clear appearance and remembering the pure significance and having stable pride.
Tene Kirim Yozola, tene yang Kecha Jigla, Sogdom Sershi Sene, Yores.
Then there's another important teaching called the 4 stakes that bind the life force, or the 4 nails that bind the life force, which apply to all generation stage practice.
Adekarasana takas dudu subject samshire, then Sogdom Sershiti, Gomba Mingur Reservia, and Tawe Getabia Chik Yores, Tambosana, Chigodires.
So just for a brief outline of these 4 stakes that bind the life force, one of them is the stake of unchanging wisdom mind. So this refers to how we have to seal the practice with the view.
Tene chik di kepa la yezer sinata sata ten sumgi kone la gomya dere.
Then another one of these 4 stakes is the stake of the deity, the stake of the deity that we generate the visualization of. So this refers to how we have to generate the visualization of the deity with clear visualization and remembering the pure significance of the features and having stable pride.
Das tene chik di deva nga yezer sinata tene nga chayat.
And then another one is the stake of mantra recitation. So this is about how we have to do the mantra recitation.
Tene chik di ozir chundu ki zir sene zo nyamba ka kapsu tene chik ozir pa tsu chaya tene ki mangbu yore di odires.
Then fourth is the stake of radiating and gathering light rays. So when we do the mantra recitation, there's a lot of like radiating and like emanating light rays back and forth, and that's what this refers to.
Tene kirim gombar chepe khanzata chida tente sogdom sershi gone kyang kirim yozo chik tenla phaptum gires.
So someone who does generation stage meditation practice can understand how to do generation stage practice completely just through these 4 stakes that bind the life force.
Honesta kirim kamna kecheshu chikta sogdom sershi yona tene sogdom sershi ki ne yona tene la khalachi na yang dup songs.
So this is one of the most important teachings for generation stage practice. If we understand these the key points of these 4 stakes that bind the life force, then whatever generation stage practice we do, we will be able to accomplish it.
Unless tende the cause that anzo 다지 지당기 도당 차와이나 아니 ngondro 다오지 도살나 아니 ngondro기 제수 다지 지당 책이 있나 되네 자숨 가야로 책이 레장감 양은 균켜 다월 때나야다 멘토바 요마르 펼쳐 되네 텐데질 때네 되네 기름 공대셔바나시 다 gomya chego gres.
So the general way that we usually do things is that after we've completed doing Ngondro practice, the preliminary practices, then we do generation stage practice, where we rely on the practice, either the full sadhana or daily practice, it doesn't matter, but where we rely on the practice of any one of the three roots deities.
Yes. Then kirim ta kirim la kalakang sam samare temba topic kansa inna then ta zorim la ta lam ribash den jogi inna then ta ngela then zorim chenche la drogres.
For someone who's gained some stability in generation stage practice, then they can progress to completion stage meditation. And if we're practicing the full path in order, then first at this point we do completion stage with characteristics.
Yang tendegichi takalawara jalung tumula sopa tendela yang chikalawara tonang mebadawada da tendela yang chikalsor king kalsor da da kangdar yang tela malam na tini yar kalawara tini zogrim semela nyamlen chekna yang jona yang dig years.
But if we don't have an interest in doing those tsalung and tumo practices, or if because of some other circumstances we aren't able to do them, then we can also just, it's also okay to just go straight to the completion stage without characteristics practice.
Yes. Tene ta zorim chenje jugo onda tawa ina ta zorim chenje ngara khan tu te dawa ina tangbo sana ta tagi di tumung ikina joche tene niba di sapa nga ji na jor sagire ta sapa nga ji na jor di tene zorim chenje gomyare di ta anan zo on shi na ne sawang shui ki nyamlen res sawang shui sarve khasa ki top sarve khasa ki mone chena ta zorim chenje gombala ko wangware.
But for the completion stage with characteristics, if we use the Ngondro Tukti practice as an example, there's first there's the common yoga of form, and then there's the yoga of profound mantra recitation, and this second one is the practice of completion stage with characteristics, and so among the four empowerments, once we've received the second empowerment, the secret empowerment, then we can practice, or we're allowed to practice this stage of completion stage with characteristics.
Tene ta sapanga jinajur nyamsul number chabala tene chili ki tongra gomyadang ani nang chai tongra gomyadang ana sawa thigle tongra gomya tongra sum gomne tene cho ta lungzung ne lung Pumbachen Karsata, Lung Pumbachen Seadang, Tene Yang Lung Pumbachen Jarwajinden Seado Tenedang, Tene Tumong Sanata Chizamdo, Tene Karego, Jamlung Pumbachen Sea, Tene Yore, Tendrik Lung Zongne, Tene Yinde Chayado Dang. Gongde Chiado dan Dornde Chiado Tozeres.
So, in this yoga of profound mantra recitation, there's the three empty enclosures which we meditate upon. The outer empty enclosure of the body, the inner empty enclosure of the channels, and the secret empty enclosure of the tikles. And we do this stage of practice mostly holding the breath, holding the like winds, like doing vase breathing. And there's like vase breathing with the four aspects to it, and then there's also the kind of general, more commonly done gentle vase breathing, and we do like so holding the breath but doing vase breathing. We do mental recitation and cessation recitation and vajra recitation.
Yes. Tene Sumba de la Kebra Divina Jers Yongre Tadi Hirwangi Lamkerre, Teneta Wang Sumba Shira Yishiki Wang Tobe Kanzagi, Tene Zorim Tsenchenagi, Dumenajur, Dozogomela, Wawares, Tikita, Lamkersen and Yamnes and a Tires.
So, then third is the yoga of extraordinary bliss, and this practice is connected with the wisdom knowledge empowerment, the third empowerment. So people who have received the wisdom knowledge empowerment are empowered to do these like practices like tumo.
Honest. Tene da tumuki tati zogram chenche tumu gomba koran la ya tumu gomya chita chagyen na jurs ni yores.
So with this completion stage with characteristics practice of tumo, there's the practice of tumo itself, and then there's also the mudra yoga.
Tene ta sabche zamchi tene tumina jartela tre kepa seacheta dewa pelwa seachi yala changa seachi sumyeres.
So just for an outline of tumo practice, there's three stages to it. First, increasing, or first generating warmth, and then increasing bliss, and then the 5 branch practices.
Honest. Ta tre kepa parto nganzo yapoch nyamlen chetu bayina tene ndi parto la tene ngalam ki dubi ki soglam chungu dan jing dan chembosum tarchimba yin songsh.
So if we practice on the path up to this point where we generate warmth, and if we do all the practices up to this point well, then these are all the practices of the secret mantra version of the path of accumulation. So if we practice up to this point, then we've done all the practices of the path of accumulation, the lesser, the medium, and the greater path of accumulation.
Yes. 다 입기나 저서나 기른 거미야되기 소람 충무 탈친 되네 사방아지나 저되기 등보 탈친 뚜무나네 저기 되네 소람 충무 탈친 바인 소스.
So with the yoga form generation stage practice, we perfect the lesser path of accumulation, and with the with the yoga of profound mantra recitation, we perfect the medium path of accumulation, and with the generating warmth part of Tummo practice, we perfect the greater path of accumulation.
Yes. Tene tattumu gnangi tene sabchini badi dewa pelwa tarchamba inna tene jolam joda zemuni ki ta lamdi jojogi yosons.
And then within Tummo practice, the next is the stage of increasing bliss. And if we perfect this stage of practice, then then on the path of joining, we perfect the first two stages of warmth and peak.
Honest. Tene ti jela chagye najar tadi kyabar dewi najar ki yaware chagye najar tela tene chugi chagye sejta ihigi chagye sej ni yare kandar denyi ki ta lam tarchimba inna tene ngaran zoga ta jolam tsemo zoba chejoni tarchin rogi yare.
And then there's the mudra yoga, and so this is also part of the yoga of extraordinary bliss. And there's two parts of this. There's the dharma mudra and the mental mudra. And if we perfect these stages of practice on the path, then on the path of joining, we perfect the latter two stages of forbearance and supreme phenomena.
Yes. Tene ti jalada pe ngazu subject zamchira tene ta shibadi tamadi tene zogram tseme nyamlen tene kantu digina tene tartu ishiki najar se atire oda ti wang jiba shirwang wang jiba tsewang rinpoche shibigi dires kalorda tsewang rinpoche tabayina tene lam di gombala wang wares ti nyamlen res.
So then, continuing with this just outline of the practices, fourth is the practice of completion stage without characteristics. And in the Ngondro Teaching practice, this is there's the yoga of ultimate wisdom mind at this stage. So this stage of practice is connected with the fourth empowerment. So if we receive the precious word empowerment, we're empowered to do this practice.
Honest. Tene da tsiwang nyamlen zoram tseme telayang tene nangseki ranzogata ta chedang ta kirim di mahayoga dan tumba re Mahayoga gongba sana re zo che de ji dan changma la kyo zo changma yong gre tene saba nga ji na jor thang tene kyabar dewi na jor ni de zo anu yoga ki nyamlen na thumba re tene chiwon gi nyamlen zo rung cheme chongwa di tene ma anu adi yoga ki nyamlen dang thumba doksres.
So in general, we say that the generation stage practice is mostly connected with the Mahayoga, or generation stage is what's most emphasized in Mahayoga. Actually, it includes generation and completion stage practices and everything, but what's most emphasized in Mahayoga is generation stage practice, and then the yoga of profound mantra recitation and the yoga of extraordinary bliss are practices connected with Anu Yoga, and then the practice of the precious word empowerment, the completion stage without characteristics practice, is Ati Yoga practice.
Shiba Shirwang Nyamlin Zorim Tsemedi, Karsa Zorim Tsemedi, Dikos Nyamlin Chiadi, so Teche Tegal Nires.
The main practices connected with the fourth empowerment, the precious word empowerment, the main completion stage without characteristics practices are Trekchu and Togal.
Teche Nyamlin Ta Wenji Ringzi Gomanamji Chaksol Sanaya Tenda Iya Trekchu Chigin Naya Dama Tensul Gwangi Tene Pe Mangbu Yeres Ngote Chirang Inaya Ngote Chetang Mandra Mangbu Yeres.
Trekchu practice, even though there's only one Trekchu practice that was taught by the great awareness holders of the past, there's many different ways in which they gave their instructions. So even though there's only one introduction, there's many different ways of giving this introduction.
Ta Pena Tata Chen Zamja in Pena Sem Junior Dosum Tane Nyamzilaya Yana Netine Lopen Garab Dojaki Soana Shin Sixum Nedeletene Sixum Nedebicone Nyamzilaya Tene Yana Sem Ne Yu Rixum Tela Pabne Nyamzilaya Seado Tendeyurus.
Just to give some examples, there's establishing the origin, dwelling place, and destination of the mind and practicing according to that. Or there's like the teaching from the master Garb Dorje. There's the teaching on the 3 points, like the strike the essence, and understanding and establishing that and practicing according to that. Or there's understanding the stillness, movement, and awareness of the mind, and practicing according to that.
Tina Hinta, Nana Kanto de Drawena, Yamling Shikapsu, Tene Karzavata Tongba Namkataur, Tene Tena Pavna Yamsunaya, and a Salva Melongto Karsavat Tena Pavna Yamsulaya, and Charwa Balapto Korsatene, the Des Yamslaya Seado, the Dekia, 그런 개발 요리스 된대 칸도데 있는 된대 야송 요리스
And then in Ngondro Teaching, for example, there's establishing that emptiness is like the sky, and establishing that clarity is like a mirror, and establishing that arising is like waves. So there's these like different particular stages.
yes then the toggle telada yang pe mangbu yorite yinayanta nenga drawte tene go tene charwa charsa goyine karsa charwa chesa goyine ani charsa yulgine ani tinahin lungdang rikpik ne sene ne sumam yana ne shigo ne tene nyamsila ya daw the yoris.
And then for Togal practice, there's also a lot of different ways in which this is taught, but for like a condensation of the key points, there's the key point of the doors, like the doors through which arising happens, and there's the objects which arise, and there's the lung or the winds. There's the key point of the lung, and there's the key point of awareness. So there's the 3 or 4 key points like this.
Yes. Then the telepe mangbo yore negaro the tangmanzo shuse yamare the kangdayang then tego nyamse lembar chavala drama shiam then kasmasna tanye sogamare tanye dondo che ge to drama tru suyada then nyamse lembar chebela then drama jisya tire tatangbo drama jam drama truck in napshatonzo yago kong the chuba chena tene go dang yul dang long dang rikbi ki ne tonzo la tenne tene nyamsula ya toksi yores.
So there's actually a lot of important points about Togal practice, but there's no time to explain them all. But just for a very brief explanation, there's in Togal practice there's the 4 lamps, or there's the 6 lamps for helping us to clarify doubts, but then for actually doing the practice there's the 4 lamps, and we have to really understand and internalize this teaching, and then practice with the key points of the door and of the doors and the objects and the wind and awareness.
All so that technology tene chuni gide bangusum do thwa ina da tene thonglam thabare tene tete kansa tene ngara nga kong de chewa ina te yenche ke lam do tene nga ke tmong main bi ke ta nyamle indi ka so tene do chani te wana shin kalo mangbo ngol ma gawar tene yusam la yang tene lam do chene gomlam do pe yobo chendre de song chene de chinda gomlam tharchin tene thartu tene ta chechetan thega kang na ya ta thartu tene tangaran ta zo cheche on the tawain karsa cheche on the tawain chese londe ki gongba se ajure oda ngonde chorsana tene ta thartu kanju milope zomjo sana ten thartu kanju kundu zangbo to ngomba nyamba teta chagi ye songse.
So if we see the truth of the nature of reality just as it is through Trekcha practice, then that's the path of seeing. And then from that point on, all the like higher paths than that can be traversed very quickly through Togal practice. Like, in the secret mantra path, it's not like the sutra path where it takes many eons to progress, but we can progress very swiftly through the stages of the path of meditation and perfect the path of meditation and ultimately accomplish Buddhahood. So through either Trekchu or Togal practice, actually, we can accomplish Buddhahood. Like through Trekchu, we can accomplish a state where it's called the state of the exhaustion of all phenomena beyond the mind. And this is the ultimate result, the path of no more training, the state of union, the state of Buddha Samandabhadra.
That's then dig down on the Kyozo Nilatene, then Najashi Gone, then Yamlen Chatadam, Rimbatutsul, Dudjom.
So that was a very brief outline of generation and completion stage practice in connection with the 4 yogas and like how we practice and how we like the stages of practice on these paths.
Honest. Then tape Kodeo and the Domro Japsagina, Tambo Lejan Latene Kirim Matananda Truk Gom. Then Kirim Gom Sarvijela, Zalung Trinkorodang, Tumodunzo Jangne, then Zorim Tsenche, and Yamsilen Berjumba, Tinyamsilen, and Te Jela, then Zorim Tsenme, Chejet and Togal Gishon Letene, then Ta Chejet Togalgi Yamlinchea, Korim Rakwazamchi Tinderesta, Pe Kola Chashagina, Duty Chashagina.
But for an easy to understand condensation of this, we first practice like some sadhana practice where we do generation stage practice for at minimum 6 months maybe, and then after we've done that generation stage practice, then we do the Tsalung Trukor practices and Tumo. We do these completion stage with characteristics practices, and then after that we do the completion stage without characteristics practices, like the Trekcha and Togal practices. So that's a very rough condensation of it.
Let's start then Yamlin chair the Yamlin Koma dozo, Tarchimba am, Dr. Yoyalani, Yamlin Omo Modozola, Raligre, the end of us, Yamlin Omo Modozayan, Mama Drogina, Ngondro Raligre, the end of us, Tambone Karsagota, Ngondro di Pitabo, Tarchimbache, then Kirimiago Tarchin, then Lam Comodozola Drogina, then Karsagotine, Drugi Lelao, the younger estimado, then Omodozola Kayang Yamlenta, Chenandra, Machenandra, Taya, Martin, the day Yamlen Yago Majeta, Martin, Yamlen Chawa in Tarmachimarudan. Como Modozola draw in Nayanta Chick Sosola, Tankishu and Nashi, Mogomgi, Pasha Jaya Samshi Pan Togarmashi, Yamlin Takten Jala, Pemazikal Kabras, the owners of Samachina, Gang Nakayang, Ganzola, Tata Samakaya, Tengumare, young.
So, receiving signs of accomplishing the higher levels of practice depends on having accomplished the lower stages of practice. So, and the lower stages of practice depend on Ngondro practice. So first we have to do the Ngondro preliminary practices very nicely, and then do the generation stage practice very well, and then it will be much easier to accomplish those higher stages of practice on the path. If we haven't practiced the lower stages of practice well, like, you know, whether we've done some of them or whether we've done some of those practices or not, if we didn't really do them to the point where we received signs of accomplishing the practices, then it would be very difficult to receive signs of accomplishment of those higher stages of practice. It's really very difficult to practice them in any other way than like taking devotion as the path and just like making the habits of those practices in our minds. So to do these practices, we really have to have strong diligence.
Then perna tagas tapedo as zolung do chashagi na ya chedang tak ongbo yangra winani chona ngeba yamare khorang lamsang tak then sigire then maina then ongbo rap chigi chale na ya then gonna yang losum matare ongbo rap do chigi yang zolung tak then chela losum gorgire ongbo dungbo yinani then ya loje gorgire the ongbo tamaji na yang then lo chutu ne chutu zolung jang ne ta me temba mesi so ta nyamnen tak ten chege ne oda de yang gores zunri ta gas chego gores bezen ta gas chego gores.
So if we take Salung practice as an example, you know, we can't say for sure. Maybe some people of the very highest faculties can immediately receive signs of accomplishment. But other than that, even people of the highest faculties, it takes at least 3 years to really fully accomplish Tsalung practice. That's for people of the highest capacity, and people of medium capacity, it takes 8 years, and for people of the least capacity, it takes 16 years. They say that if we do the Tsalung Truk or Tumo practice for 16 years, it's impossible to not receive signs of accomplishing it. But to really receive signs of fully accomplishing these practices, we have to have, that's how much diligence we have to have, that's how much determination we have to have.
Salam Dritsusana Yanan Jay Kurumdo Didish Tosi and Yavana Pemambo Yoret and Sama Pemasi Didich in the Shiva Mashi. Then Nanzo Tondon to the Shitaya Mendosra and Tari Nanzuchote Takazaji.
So that was a very brief explanation of the how we progress on the stages and paths of practice. It was just a very brief explanation. If we talked about it in a more extensive way, then there's really a lot of detail to it, and we don't have time to get into all of that. So this was just a very brief explanation, but we'll conclude this teaching session now. Now let's all please do the dedication and aspiration prayers all together, dedicating the virtue of this teaching and receiving the teaching to the flourishing of the teachings and the benefit of sentient beings.
Sonamdi tamche zipani tamnamni vintanam pamche Yagana jibalong chobai sepe tsolando wadra sho Kandu jivi jiva tamche tutura yindin dindan tawshi kimata chodan tujudan sujun tujudan Tayala madamani nina tsinda cholani chotonani nyambutinda tsense sibu yana Sibra tamche choro tuja shenbenjo na kima Labjanjanda chodan bayi tamche chamche sanjita war sho Pema Osel Ling Shingda Dudjom Kangi Sabta Dembasa Debramen of Shedan Ribbons in Church Canop Chesum Jumlochin Zamlin Sassum Jabra Pandrich Chosum no Mandara Tesum Gale Show Chanchosum Rinpoche Japanum Chichi Java Never Ngondro Phowa show. Yes.